Hey guys, so I'm reviewing NXT takeover stand in the year for night one. Now I was going to make this a combined review after I watched night two yet of the night, but I figured, well, I've got some time to kill. Why don't I just review night one now and review night two? Review night two maybe tomorrow or something. So I just got done watching it, and right off the bat, I want to address something so I don't forget. We get to the main event of Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's title. We get to that. But in the crowd, we see Shirai and the chief officer, the chief branding officer, Stephanie McMahon, watching at ringside. And this is the title they have for Stephanie McMahon when they introducing her. They say that she's been at the forefront of this women's revolution, and by my mug, you can probably tell how I feel about that. Mate, just give that a rest. There's no one in this world that actually really believes that Devin McMahon has been in the forefront of this little women's revolution you've got going on. Now, she may have had a little something to do with it, I'll give her that. She may have had a little something to do with it, but we all know that's the driving force behind this women's revolution, which I hate that. I hate that they had to make that verbiage a thing now, by the way, but we all know the driving force behind this women's revolution has been Triple H. Vince McMahon has been the one who didn't really see anything in the women, who just saw them as a roadside attraction, or sex objects, or whatever have you. But, yeah, that's not a single, just give that up. Cause, like I say, that's not a single person who actually believes that Devin McMahon was at the forefront of this women's revolution we got now. But I digress. I just wanted to mention that so I don't forget it. The opening I wasn't surprised by. I just didn't expect it. The opening, or maybe I should have come to think of it, but the opening was Casita vs. Pete Dunne. This was a good match. I'm gonna preface it by saying that. This was a good match. But I think objectively you can say that this wasn't the match that a lot of people were expecting. This capped off at about 10 minutes. And I didn't want these men to go for like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that. But this match between two Matt Ducasse technical wrestlers capped off at 10 minutes. And how did I know they could have had a better match? Because they have. Casita vs. Johnny Gargano for the North American title was one of the best matches I have ever seen at a takeover. As well as was Pete Dunne vs. Finn Balor for the NXT title. This match was nowhere near that. It was still a good match, but I think it could have used another 5, maybe even 10 minutes. And I don't know if this was a timing issue with USA or something, because honestly, I think it would have been better if they kept, which I know why they did part of this on the USA Network, but I think it would have been better if they just kept it exclusive to Peacock. I mean, because I know they have a WrestleMania streaming the Good TV on Peacock, but for the NXT viewers, you needed a big selling point to sell Peacock on. And for the NXT viewers, having both of those nights exclusively on Peacock would have done wonders, I think. And more to the point, I think it could have helped out the match structure a little bit. Because USA had advertisers that they had to please and everything. I understand that. Peacock is under no such obligation. So that's why I think they should have stuck these exclusively as a Peacock exclusive both nights. But like I say, this was a good match. Pete Dunne won, which I'm not gonna say was the right or the wrong result, cause I'd have been fine if either man won on the D, but Pete Dunne won with the bitter end, and this was great. I was just thinking in that match, I was thinking, mate, I would love to see Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano go at a takeover for the North American title. I'd love to see that. But we'll see how it goes from here. We had the NXT titles. Oh, no. Coming up after that, we had the six-pack challenge, the Gauntlet Eliminator, as they call it, of Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, E.O. Russ, Isaiah Swerve, Bronson Reed, and L.A. Knight. L.A. Knight was in that match. How could I forget L.A. Knight? But yeah, this match was great too, I thought. Some very nice back and forth between Isaiah and E.O. Russ even before the match started. I mean, you had Isaiah attacking E.O. Russ from behind, or Leon Ruff from behind, and they brawled for about 3 or 5 minutes, and then they got in the ring. And this was some great ring work by all these men. At one point, I did want to talk about this because it was so funny to me. But at one point, L.A. Knight, or at one point, Dexter Lumis has someone in the silencer. It might have been it was Cameron Grimes. He had Cameron Grimes as a silencer, anaconda vice move that he does. L.A. Knight rolled them up in not a schoolboy, but he rolled them up in jackknife cover. He rolled them up in a jackknife cover and gets a 3 count. But Dexter Lumis is still holding on to silencer. But Dexter Lumis is eliminated now. He's got to go to the back. And Cameron Grimes did tap out. And after that, L.A. Knight just gets destroyed. L.A. Knight, he kicks, he splashes, he what have you, and he immediately gets eliminated. But that's not the funny part. The funniest part to me was after L.A. rolled out of the ring to go to the back, Dexter Lumis comes up behind him and catches him in the vice, and you have to watch it for yourself because I'm not going to do it justice. But Dexter Lumis catches him in the vice, and he excels it perfectly. I mean, L.A. Knight's gagging. He's being to see for something. He just gagging. He just just makes the funniest selling of it, I thought. And then Dexter Humor for his party, I cradled his head and does his hand like this, which I don't know why. Maybe it was more for comedic purposes, but honestly, I've never been really into Dexter Humor. I mean, I know a lot of people have been, but I've never been into Dexter Humor. But what's funny is the one time I was in Detective Humus, the one time I can remember being in Detective Humus was Bronson Reed versus Detective Humus in the inaugural NXT Breakout Tournament. I thought, oh, that's cool. They're bringing this guy in that's supposed to be impervious to pain and just a monster and everything. And I wonder what they're gonna do with him. Bronson Reed just beats him. Bronson Reed did yeet him out in the first round of the match. I've never really been into Dexter Human since. I like him, but he's not one of my top guys. Yeah, cause Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa or an Adam Cole, anything like that. Eventually, it comes down to Elias Swerve God and Bronson Reed. And Elias does everything to take Bronson Reed down. At one point, he hits him with a trio of house calls, his finisher. Well, before that, what I thought was a great spot is Bronson Reed is on the top rope, and Swerve kicks him. Swerve gives him a enziguri kick. I don't think it's called an enziguri, but it was when he was in the top rope, and God just comes up, and kicks him. Yeah, like a crescent moon kick, I guess you could call it. And Scott gets out of the ring, and using Bronson Reed's momentum, and because he's so big, he just slides him and slams him onto the metal apron of the ring. I thought that was great. After that, Scott hits a 450. Bronson Reed kicks out. Bronson Reed hits God hits a trio of house calls. Bronson Reed kicks out, and Bronson Reed powers him up and slams him and hits a tsunami from the top rope for the victory. So we're getting Johnny Gargano. So tonight we're getting Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed for the North American title tonight. I think Bronson Reed's winning that one. I mean, I love Johnny, but I think Bronson Reed's winning that one, which is great. I mean, Bronson Reed's not one of my favorites either. I like him, but a run with the North American title would do him some good. Next up, we had a triple threat match. Next up, we had Walter vs. Ciampa for the UK title. This was a great match. This was just a hard-hitting slugfest between two men, and this was just great. One of the parts of the match, because of how memorable it was and because of how the commentators kept hyping it up, was Walter had Ciampa outside the ring. He had them against the announce deck. He goes to chop him, but Ciampa moves out of the way, and Walter's hand just go through the announce table, just feeding off a piece of the wood and go through that wood like an axe. I thought that was a great spot. That opened up the door Ciampa to focus on the hand, and I thought that was great. I mean, this was a hard-hitting match. At one point, Ciampa gets walked up for the Fairy Tale ending and gets a 2 count. And the announcer paired up like, well, there had never been a Kyoto count. There had never been a Kyoto count for Walter as UK champion. There has been. I'm gonna plug a match that I think is one of the best I've seen. Tyler Bate versus Walter for the UK title at NXT TakeOver Cardiff. In that match, there's a spot where Tyler Bate has Walter down. Tyler Bate is the Tiger Driver 95 or the Tiger Driver 98. He hit it, and it's like as close as a 2 count as you can get. Like the referee's hand is inches away from the mat. Yeah, it gets inches away from getting the 3 count. So that's not really a slight against them. I just wanted to plug one of the best UK title matches I've seen at NXT TakeOver Cardiff. If you get some time, watch that match if you can only watch one. It is phenomenal. Next up, we have a triple threat tag team match for the vacated NXT UK titles. And this was a good match too. This was technical, hard-hitting match. This was any one of these teams I would have been okay with winning the title. And that's what you want. I think, as a wrestling fan, you want a match with multiple options. You want a match that wherever road they go down, you'll be happy with it. Well, at least I was gonna be happy with whatever road they went down. I'm not saying that's consensus, but that's my opinion. I would have been happy with whoever won this match. But all the teams got their chance to sign. All the teams got the chance to make you think they were legitimately winning the title. But in the end, MSK win the title by pinning the grizzled young veteran. I think they did. They pinned the grizzled young veteran because Raw and Mendoza were taken out beforehand. So yeah, they pinned the grizzled young veteran, which I thought was a great callback because their rivalry really has been between themselves and the grizzled young veteran. That was what originally was supposed to happen before James Jake broke the hand of an MSK member. I can't remember which one it did now, but I thought that was a great callback. And I'm looking forward to the one-on-one match between the grizzled young veterans and MSK if that ever happens. Next up, we have the main event, which is Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez. Now, I was a little upset, not with the match itself, but I was a little upset because I had accidentally spoiled myself for this match. I went on to YouTube, and I didn't mean to, but when I went on to YouTube, I saw a review for the show for night one because I didn't watch it. That night. I saw a review for night one, and the headline was Raquel Gonzalez win the NXT Women's Title. So that was a little disappointing that I found out the result. But but all in all, anyway, this was a great match. This was a sort of match that I thought it was gonna be, but it was because they had 30 minutes yet to the show, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get this match going 30 minutes, but no, it cut off with about 15 minutes yet for some reason. But yeah, this match was a good match for what it was. I mean, we had Io Shirai hitting the moonsault on Raquel Gonzalez, on the standing Raquel Gonzalez to the floor. We had Io Shirai going up top and jumping down and hitting a crossbody on Raquel Gonzalez from the not the very top, but from the goal prop that they had. So that was great. And Io then Io rolled in Raquel Gonzalez, hits an over the moonsault, and Raquel Gonzalez kicks out. And the commentators are selling it. Oh, no one has ever kicked out of this finisher before. One person has. I'm gonna plug in a match that I think is one of the best two that I've seen at an NXT takeover. It's Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai. The third match that they had, the non-title match that they had. So this was a great match, but ultimately Candice LeRae does kick out of the over the moonsault, and Io had to use some submission prowess to get Candice to tap out. So I thought that was a great match too. Like I say, not throwing any shade at the announcers, not throwing any shade at all at them. I'm more than willing to play along with it, but I just thought that was a great match too, and that call made me think of that match. So I figured I'd share it with y'all. In the end, Raquel Gonzalez hit the choke bomb, or whatever they call that. It may just be an elevated choke slam, but I'm calling it a choke bomb. She hits the choke bomb to Io Shirai outside of the ring, and rolled Io Shirai in the ring for the cover. I think they rolled them in for the cover anyway. But Io Shirai had some hope boss near the end, but ultimately Raquel Gonzalez powered it up for another chokeslam bomb, and Raquel Gonzalez is the new NXT Women's Championship, NXT Women's Champion. This was a fun match. This was nothing too fancy. It didn't go incredibly long, but this was a fun match. This was a concise match. It told the story it needed to tell. I mean, this was just a good women's title match all around. So night one of TakeOver, I thought it was great. Yeah, I gotta say, a few parts could have been better, but, maybe just, a few parts could have been better. The whole Stephanie McMahon thing in the match between, Pete Dunne and Casita, I was just expecting a little bit more. I don't know if I'm in the majority on that or the minority. I'll have to watch it again to see if my opinion changed. But objectively, I think you could say it was nowhere near the best match that these two men have had. But yeah, night one, I acted, I enjoyed it. Like I say, I don't know why they still had 15 minutes yet. I expected a debut or something like that. But no, they just gave her Raquel Gonzalez celebration, which I'm glad I was fan in attendance for. They gave Raquel Gonzalez celebration, and then they just went off the air with 15 minutes left. I don't know why. Maybe that was a timing issue. Maybe that was something with Peacock, something with USA. I don't know. But overall, night one of NXT TakeOver, it was a good show. I think I'm looking forward to night two a little bit more, but it was a good show, and I'm looking forward to watching NXT TakeOver in about 20 minutes. So, thank you for listening to my review, my little mini rant on Stephanie McMahon, and thank you for joining me tonight. I'll be back either later tonight or tomorrow with the review of night two, which I'm expecting to just be old night one out of the water. No disrespect to the rest of the performers involved, but I'm expecting night two to just be old night one out of the water. But thank you, and I'll see you when I see you next for part two. Take care, guys.